the championships, the weather changed rather dramatically. The rain started to come down, the temperature dropped to 16 degrees Celsius, and it was no longer the nice autumn weather that we'd been experiencing. Only one real name missing from the start list, that of Miguel Indurain, who after his withdrawal from the Tour of Spain deciding to put an end to his season and possibly to his career. It'll be a difficult day for many of the favourites, men like Christopher Boardman, Tony Rominger and Alex Zülle of Switzerland. But what they will face over the next few hours is a 40-kilometre time trial, and this is exactly the course that they face. After just a few kilometres, they reach the summit of the 554-metre climb of Monte Ceneri, and then it's downhill all the way into Crespera before they climb again to the summit of Breganzona at 417 metres. That's the last climb of the day, and they plunge down into the streets of Lugano. One of the early starters, the Aussie Neil Stevens, normally rides alongside Laurent Jalabert and Alex Zülle, but all of these men today on different teams. Stevens riding for Australia, Jalabert riding for France, and Alex Zülle riding for Switzerland. But Stevens is an excellent time trialist and posted some good performances just recently with a very fine ride in the Tour of Spain. As you can see, the weather is not ideal in these conditions, and many riders, I feel, towards the end will have to take a lot of risks in the corners if they want to walk away with the men's individual time trial championships. And as we've said, the defending time trial champion Miguel Indurain is not on the start list. But Neil Stevens' teammate certainly is. Alex Zülle, he won't like these weather conditions. He's had one or two nasty spills throughout his career, but he's now off and facing 40.4 kilometres. Zülle just recently won the Tour of Spain and was beaten, in fact, in all the time trials there by his own countryman, Tony Rominger. But today they ride on the same team, that of Switzerland. Well, Rominger, now approaching the end of his career, would really like to go out with a big win, and a World Championship would go alongside his 3 Tours of Spain and his 1 Tour of Italy. Rominger has come from the Tour of Spain, just as Alex Zülle and many of the other riders in this World Championships, and appears to be in excellent condition. He knows exactly what he has to do to try and win this title, 40.4 kilometres, and he's said all throughout this year that one of the most important rendezvous of his season would be the World Championships, because it was on home soil in Switzerland. The Swiss have been exceptionally well prepared for this, and I would think in a few days' time in the road race they are certainly going to be the team to win. But you can see Rominger adopting his lighter bicycle today with a full disc wheel at the back, and a very expensive machine it is as well. A bicycle like this, if you wanted to purchase one, would cost you somewhere in the region of $6,500. But the conditions really are atrocious, and you can see Rominger starting to ease himself to the front of the saddle a little bit to try and get just a little bit more control as they go around these corners. Now, in the first part of this course here, the time trial course, they actually go out and turn around and come back on the opposite side, which is why they've got these barriers down the center of the road to separate them and make sure they only use the half of the road that they're supposed to be racing on. See very quickly Rominger into his rhythm. This man is one of the masters of the time trial, and so is this man too, Christopher Boardman. Boardman won the first ever time trial championships in 1994 in Sicily, and he slips off the ramp there, and I'm sure he'll be thinking about a few years ago when he crashed in the opening time trial of the Tour de France in weather conditions very similar to this. Boardman's had an excellent year so far this year, winning the World Pursuit Championships on the track in Manchester in August, and then just 1 week later taking the world hour record away from Tony Rominger. He knows exactly how to ride a time trial, but he says himself before the start that he's a little bit worried about only having ridden time trials since the end of the Tour de France, and feels he may well not have the force necessary to win this time trial, but I'm sure he's going to be pretty close. Again, you get a chance to see just how bad the conditions here are. Completely different to the previous day when we watched the women and the under-23 title. It was a glorious autumn afternoon, but today it's almost the beginning of winter. You see just how slippery conditions are as well, but Boardman out already to the saddle, trying to keep his rhythm up, trying to use the maximum of that power that we know that he has, and he knows exactly what the times are being done out on the road by the other men that started in front of him. Only one man left to start, that of the current world champion, a title that he will hold until this Sunday. Abraham Olana of Spain will be the last man in the starting gate. Chance here just to have a look at the conditions. Boardman on the left-hand side into his rhythm there. We're coming up to the first time check. In fact, Andrea Piron of Italy goes through with the first best time, 19 minutes and 18 seconds. Piron, a very good time trialist as well, just recently in the top 10 of the Tour of Spain. Boardman. What a perfect position for a time trial. It's very low on the saddle. It almost looks as if that helmet is built into his back. He really is in an aerodynamic position. Using here one of the aerodynamic machines that are actually nowadays constructed in South Africa on behalf of Eddie Merckx. And you can see that this really is a mean machine. Well, the last man to start, wearing number 1, second in the World Championships time trial last year, first in the World Road Race Championships in Colombia, and he too now has a very big goal to try and defend a road race championship on Sunday and to try and go one better than his second place of last year. In the absence of Miguel Indurain of Spain, he may well be able to do that. But he certainly has an awful lot of weight on his shoulders now. Many people regard him to be the new heir to Miguel Indurain's throne. Neil Stevens coming to the line, posted some excellent times out on the course, second at the last time check. He's looking to beat the time of Domingo of Spain, 50 minutes 06. He's not going to do that, but it's going to be good enough to put Neil Stevens into second place. 50 minutes and 48 seconds as he looks back to check. That's not a bad ride for Steve-O. Out on the course, though, coming up to the 32.9 kilometre check, Alex Zülle is coming through with what will now be a new best time. 41 minutes and 20 seconds was that of Nardello, but the new time is that of Alex Zülle, the Swiss rider, 40 minutes and 20 seconds. Chance here just to look at the weather conditions as we get confirmation of the third time check. Alex Zülle going through with the best time, almost 1 minute ahead of the Italian Daniele Nardello. But there are a lot of fast men out on the course. One of the men chasing him is Tony Rominger, and look at the power of the Swiss rider. He really is at home once the road goes upwards. An excellent climber which has helped him to win 3 Tours of Spain, and also a very good time trialist. The 32.9 kilometre time split is that at the moment being led by Alex Zülle, 40 minutes and 20 seconds at the bottom of the board. But Rominger a couple of kilometres away from there at the moment. We'll soon see whether Tony Rominger can rival his own countrymate today, Alex Zülle. Rominger digging deep. He knows exactly what time has been done by his compatriots out on the road there, and he's being helped all the way to the top of this climb by the Swiss. You can hear the cowbells in the background as they're shaking and trying to encourage him to give the Swiss a great 1-2. The weather has really not changed at all here as we approach the summit of the climb. Rominger needs to beat the time of 40 minutes and 20 seconds set by Alex Zülle, and he's having a hard time doing that as well. Here of Lugano, taking every risk possible, and this is quite strange for Alex Zülle because he's not normally very comfortable on wet and slippy roads like this, but today he really is flying along. Digging deep now, he knows that the finish line is not going to be too far away from him. He's getting every last little bit out of his body. You will know this course, in fact, he decided he wants to get a little bit lighter coming into the final corner there. In fact, he threw his helmet away. Boardman on the climb of Prospera now. Digging very deep there. He looks a little bit overgeared to me. He's out of the saddle chasing this man, Tony Rominger, who started, in fact, 2 minutes ahead of him at the start of the day. Rominger, looking for the summit of this climb, knows that the time to beat is that of his own teammate. He gets out of the saddle and forces his bicycle from left and to right. He knows he's got to get to the top of this climb because from here it plummets all the way down to the finish. Second position for Rominger, going over the top, 41 minutes and 2 seconds, almost 40 seconds behind his teammate Alex Zülle. But look at the power of the Swiss rider here. Here is confirmation of that third time split. Alex Zülle leading 41 seconds ahead of Tony Rominger, and in third place for the moment, Daniele Nardello of Italy. Rominger showing a very concentrated face here, but the next man to the summit of the climb will be Christopher Boardman, the time trial specialist, one of the best men at this discipline in the world. But can he hold that condition? He'll come through now in second best time, 40 minutes and 47 seconds. He has just gone through ahead of Tony Rominger. Well, the time to beat at the finish today is that of 49 minutes and 15 seconds, set a little earlier by Daniele Nardello of Italy. Second position currently held by Andrea Piron, but the man coming to the line now is Alex Zülle of Switzerland. Zuller in the last 200 meters is well inside the time of Alex Zuller. I can tell you this, as Zuller gets out of the saddle trying to get every last little bit, because he knows that there are very fast men out on the road behind him. His time for the moment, though, is good enough to put him at the top. 48 minutes and 13 seconds, 1 minute and 1 second faster than Nardello. Zuller goes right to the top. Here's confirmation of the result as it stands for the moment. Alex Zuller first, Nardello in second position, and Andrea Piron of Italy in third. Currently lying in second position out on the course, Christopher Boorman of Great Britain, and you can see just how precariously he's going down this descent. These time trial bikes that the riders use these days are very difficult to maneuver, which is why the UCI have actually pushed to ban the Superman position, which helped Christopher Boorman take his world hour record and his individual World Pursuit title. They feel that the bicycle is becoming much too dangerous to maneuver, and it is against the spirit of the sport. Boorman now back into that tuck position. You see he was on the outside of his handlebars before to increase his maneuverability just a little bit. But now he knows he's pushing himself all the way to the finish line. Boorman now back into his aerodynamic position. He knows that he has some very fast riders who've started in front of him. Alex Zuller of Switzerland and also Tony Rominger. But at the moment, he is keeping himself calm and collected. He's ridden his race perfectly, and he's judged himself to perfection. Rominger, looking at the time of Alex Zuller, the time to beat, 48 minutes and 13 seconds. And you know, he's got an awful long way to go. He's not going to get anywhere near Zuller. Zuller will remain at the top of the leaderboard, but can he hold on to take second place? Second currently being held by Daniel Nardello of Italy, 49 minutes and 15 seconds. Rominger digging deep out of the saddle, fighting with himself, trying to push himself a little bit further as he comes up to the line. He knows what the time to beat is. He knows he's not going to do that, but he wants to get himself onto the podium for Switzerland. Look at the position that Rominger has adopted now. He's right in the center of his handlebars, using every last little bit of his power. He knows he's not going to beat the time of Alex Zuller. He's well outside of that, but he's got to keep going to try and beat Nardello, and he's certainly going to do that. Look at this, on the line, 48 minutes and 55 seconds, 41 seconds adrift, but still in second position. Boorman now in the final few meters. He too is looking to try and get himself a place on the podium for Great Britain. He was there at the Olympic Games, and it looks very much as if he's going to be there again, but will it be silver or will it be bronze? Boorman lunging for the line as he crosses it. It's 48 minutes and 53 seconds, 2 seconds better than Tony Rominger. That will give the Brit silver medal. Here is confirmation of the men's individual time trial. Alex Zuller of Switzerland at the top. Christopher Boorman will take the silver medal, and Tony Rominger the bronze. Well, the man many thought would be the individual time trial champion of the world was Abraham Alana, but never once has he been near the top of the leaderboard. In fact, he's only just going to scrape inside the top 10, and he will have to be happy when he goes home with 8.